Hello. A while back I decided I wanted to buy an Alt-Azimuth mount. Not a go-to mount or an equatorial. Just a simple mount I could put my telescope on and look up at the sky. Now I've got some fairly, by my standards, heavy optical tubes, so I wanted a good, firm, steady one. As I was looking for it, I stumbled across this. The SvBony SV225 telescope. I read some things about it, watched some videos, and bought one. It's an excellent beginner's telescope. I really like it. Buy it if you've never owned a telescope. But if you have owned a bunch of telescopes, I've got like 23 of them now, you don't really need the tripod, you don't really need the optical tube. You just need a mount, an Alt-Azimuth mount with slow motion controls. And that's what this is, an Alt-Azimuth mount with slow motion controls called the SvBony SV225. I've had this for a little over a week now, been messing around with it, testing it on various things. I watched some other people's videos and read some on it. Some people have had problems with it. I haven't had any problem with it. Works perfectly. It's steady. It's solid. I think I'll take it out tonight and put it through its paces on video. Oh well, I got the mount set up. I've got my C90 on the mount. I've got a dedicated camera, the SvBony 605 cc. Uses the IMX 533 chip. It's mounted in the C90. Here's my laptop, and here's the moon. And all I have to do to keep the moon in the frame is use these slow motion controls. Let's try a tap. That was the one. It takes less than 2 seconds for it to recover from tapping. As long as you're under 5, you're in pretty good shape. Since I've got the moon there, why don't I go ahead and take a picture of it? Brighten that up a bit, maybe. It's a little clearer now. Adjust it. Wait for it to get centered and hit the snapshot button when it gets there. And Sharp Cap will go ahead and take a snapshot of it. With a 1/30th of a second exposure time. Let's see how that looks. Looks a little dark. All right, we'll lighten it a little bit and try it again. Need a higher ISO, or a higher gain, as it calls it here. Let's say 35. Let's say 38. Not 3.9. Let's say 4/10 of a second. Let's see how that looks. Put this back in the a good spot here and take another. Oh, let's change the target name to Moon. And we'll try taking another snapshot. There. By the way, the moon takes up the whole screen here because I'm using a Mac. If I were using a short 280 or something, it would be small. Here it's kind of big. And the moon's kind of full. I hadn't planned on taking a picture of the moon tonight. But it was messing up all of my other pictures. A lot of moon, full moon gives you a lot of moonlight. Anyway, that's how you do this. In case it goes too high, you can move this or this here. Focusing doesn't really throw you off. Target, so you can focus with this thing. There are two things that are going to mess with your view, either in the eyesight or on a camera. That is the length of the optical tube and the focal length of the optical tube. This is a short optical tube with a really long focal length. So if this had a shorter focal length, it would be less than 1.5 seconds. In any event, just thought I'd show you how you can use it. I couldn't use the granulations. Let's see if I could. Can't see it. I'll explain that. I'll explain what I mean about the markings in the morning. In the meanwhile, it's kind of hot and the cats are wanting something to eat, so I'll call it for now. I wasn't able to take this out and test it like I'd planned because it clouded over. Stayed cloudy for 3 days. I finally went out last night. It was reasonably clear, although there was a full sturgeon moon and the sky was filled with cirrostratus clouds, little high, wispy, icy clouds come in waves, little thin things. And I planned on taking one of my refractors and filming a nebula. Couldn't do that. Really bad noise, stars kept coming and going. I got frustrated, hauled everything in, and then remembered I planned on testing this, or showing a test of this. So I took it out there and set it up. The only scope last night that I had with a finder scope was this Celestron C90. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to do much with stars, but since there was a big moon right there, I'll just show the moon. And that's what I did. Put the video in, back. This is a pretty good mount. I did say in the video that there was an issue with the gradient. Right here, there's a ring, and it shows the altitude. Down here is a ring that shows the azimuth. Theoretically, if you point this mount so that it's pointing exactly north, take out your app on your phone, line it up against here, and make sure the number here is 0. Then you can tell your altitude because there's a little marker here, and as you move this up and down, the marker moves up and down on this scale. There's two problems with this though. Here's 0 level. We'll say you want to look at something 45 degrees in the sky. You're gonna go way down here. Oh, I can't bend down that far. So if you had on your Stellarium or Atlas that these aren't setting circles. They're Alt-Azimuth circles. If it said it was at 45, 45, you can do 45 right there. You can't do 45 here, at least not without a flashlight getting down on your knees, and it's difficult. I think it would have been a better design if they had put the 0 up here, so that when it was level, the little marker would be pointing at the very top. And then as you elevated it, the marker would move down. If they'd done that, 30, 45, if they'd done that right here is where the marker would have been when it was at 45 degrees. That would have made this workable. There's some little tiny screws you can take out, Allen screws, and move this circle around. But you can't move this marker around. So the marker is always, if you have the 0 here on the scale, marker is going to be pointing straight to the ground. That's a design flaw in my opinion. If you're planning on trying to use these Alt-Azimuth circles to find your target. Now, of course, there's another problem is, like all these range setting circles, Alt-Azimuth circles, they're in 5-degree increments. Means the most accurate you can get here is within 2.5 degrees. A full moon is 1/2 a degree, so 2.5 degrees is 5 moons. You can be up to 5 moons off of where you're trying to find it, and it might not be visible. A lot of finder scopes, for some, can spot it if you're fairly close, if it's visible through a finder scope. Otherwise, you have to star hop. This will help you in trying to find the general area it's in, however. If you have a flashlight and you can bend way down. Some folks have said they had, here's one problem I had. This is back heavy. Thing weighs about 4 pounds. When you add on a 1.5 pound finder scope and a 1 pound camera, that makes it really back heavy. It still works, however, if you put a little tension on the clutch lockdown knob. Same kind of problem they had with Dobsonians. But that's a problem of this scope. If it had a longer dub bar, you can move it back and forth. If it doesn't have a long dub bar, you really can't add one. Anyway, this mount I have it on came from my AZ GTI mount. I've always thought it was kind of rickety compared to my CG4, but it seemed to work pretty well, as you just saw in the video. I paid $139 for this on sale, normally $159. It comes with a tripod if you want to buy one. They're $93 if you buy them by themselves. Total package $224. I didn't get the mount, or I didn't get the tripod because I got a lot of tripods around here. Don't have room for them all. If you're looking for a pretty doggone good, extremely cheap, medium Alt-Azimuth mount, this bars which you hold on to move it around, with slow motion controls. It's easy to assemble. This is a good buy. When you buy it, by the way, it's not going to look exactly like this. This thing here is going to be pointing up. You have to take it apart and then put it back together. It's not difficult. You just these 4 Allen bolts, and it's kind of obvious the way you do it. They package it up like that to make the box smaller. Yeah, I haven't had to take anything apart and adjust anything. And on my daytime, a few blocks down, look at the door with the little night light above it test. It's my worst was my Star Travel, which is around here somewhere, my Star Travel 120, a 4.7-inch simple refractor. When I would tap it, it would take 2 seconds to stabilize again. In fact, that was actually worse than my 150 millimeter Newtonian. My best was my short tube, my Celestron short tube 80, which is also around here somewhere. So that's what I think about this. It beats the competition price-wise, and it's at least as strong as most of the ones in this performance range. So I could recommend this. And that's my thoughts on the SvBony SV225 Alt-Azimuth mount. So until I see you again, happy trails.